Okay. I'm a little confused. I've got a YouTube chat window right under this mouse, but it's very impressive. It's not getting like transferred across into the screen share. Anyway, that's convenient for me. Less convenient if I want to make this visible on screen. Okay, so I guess we're on. This is all mirrored. Anyway, in the bottom left, we've got the YouTube chat, which will be covering up some of the file explorer, but we'll just make do with that. Okie dokie. So, I'm a little in deep at the moment, but let's just get this thing building so I can explain what we're doing. So, sorry, I am working on React Native Fiddle, which is, how should I describe this? It's like JS Fiddle or CodePen, all these other solutions, but I'm making it such that it runs a React Native app, specifically a React Native macOS app for now, and eventually it will support React Native Windows as well. So, what have we got here? At the moment, we have a case where, let me just clear that terminal. You have your app.js, or rather, it's JSX, but I'm calling it .js. That's a long story. Well, that's something we'll come back for. You have your app, and you can see all the code for it, and you can edit it, of course, and you can click run, and what it's going to do is it creates a template with that. It installs the npm modules, npm packages, and then boots up the Metro server, and then eventually you'll see the React Native macOS window come up, and hooray, we have a React Native macOS Fiddle. But that involved a fair bit of waiting, so there's a few things I want to improve upon. So what some of the hellish stuff I have up on the screen here is a bunch of debug statements inside someone else's code. So this is Electron's package, and I've just been looking at these plus 2 milliseconds, plus 0 milliseconds, and trying to figure out what is causing it to actually take so long from pressing run until the app actually comes up on the screen. And there's a few things that the app needs to start. One, it needs the node modules to be installed, because the node modules include the CLI. I would say React Native Community CLI, but for particular reasons, I'm using a lesser known CLI. Again, not Expo CLI. This is Microsoft's RNX Kit CLI. And so it looks a lot like your React Native Community CLI, but there's a few things we need to do at once. One, we've got to install all the npm packages, which we do. You see that's the RNX Kit CLI coming in. And then we need to kick off the CLI. And then, of course, we need to open up the app. But before all that, the app needs to get created into a temporary folder, or rather, the template, this template right here, sort of needs to get stamped. Like, you take that template and you create an app with it in a particular location, this temporary directory. And something I just came to understand before starting the stream was there is an 11-second slowdown that is introduced by the fact that when you create this template, it's copying over all the files from the temporary directory to the caches directory. I think I don't truly understand like why Electron Fiddle makes so many copies of things in different places, and because of the order in which it's performing this copy, the npm packages get installed, and then into this caches folder, it takes a copy of your template, including node modules. And the thing about that is, I'm not clear where we're making use of these caches in the first place, but a more visible thing to the user is you actually, even on this fast computer with an SSD, it takes a long time to copy a whole node modules file, node modules folder. Bear in mind this tree of node modules weighs something like 350 megabytes, and that copy operation takes 11 seconds. So what I realized is, well, if we just want to preserve the behavior of copying the template into the caches folder, but still get our node modules installed, what we could do is take the copy of the template before installing the node modules over and see how that goes. I'm not actually sure how it's going to go, but one problem at a time. This is a hypothesis I want to try out. Now, it's all, you can see there's been a lot of mayhem here, like doing research into, like, well, where was this slowdown? And the slowdown's right here. We have a source and a folder, and I'll just show you. Let's see. So they have proper words for these things. They have source and local copy. So we have, if I open that up, we have one copy of the app here called minimal repro, another copy over here called minimal repro. They should be the same, I would think. Hang on, this is something, minimize. Okay. So it's what you'd expect. It is a perfect copy. And for now, they've both got node modules in them. But my idea is we're going to take the copy before the node modules get installed, and that should save 11 seconds. And then we've at least got your user data, your userland source code in that cache. But if you ever want to reinflate from that cache, you'll just have to do an npm install. So you pay for 11 seconds on reinflation time rather than every single time we run a new fiddle. I'm still going to have to figure out when that reinflation time is. I've got no idea when these caches are used. But the way I sort of come to understand Electron Fiddle, because the React Native Fiddle is a fork of Electron Fiddle, the way I come to understand it is just poking stuff, see what breaks, poke something else, and get a little further each time. So what I want to do is effectively have a hook let's see, so I have fiddle on the right and runner on the left, and then the source code on the left here. Okay, you can't actually see the source code because of the YouTube chat. I don't really get it. Hang on. It says, hang on, is that saying chat is disabled? Chat is disabled for this live stream. Well, that's no good. How can I undisable it? That's no good. I think I need to equip it with a new link. Yes, okay. Right, let's figure this out. Copy URL. think I just grab this bit. I'm not sure about the dash. Okay. Well, hey! Alright. That's a bit better. Okay, we can now see the complete absence of chat in all its glory. That's going to be burned straight into the video. Right. Let's arranging windows. Okie dokie, so moving from left to right. Now in my userland code, in my userland code, if we consider my fork of Electron Fiddle, i.e. React Native Fiddle, to be the userland, this function right here, runner.spawn, the function does far too much. It not only runs the command for I want to call this the Electron, or in Electron Fiddle the Electron executable, but in React Native Fiddle is the React Native macOS executable. It runs that command, but it does all this silly stuff like creating the template or taking a copy of the template as well. It has this fiddle factory stuff that kind of runs inside runner.spawn. So basically, I want this copy to occur after, no, before, we have these two things. The install node modules and the restarting of my React Native CLI, and we want that to happen only after the template copy has been made. But we still want those two things to finish before we move on from the template copy onto actual execution of the app. And I've been looking through the code for runner.spawn, which is right here. And there are no hooks whatsoever to say, like, please run my callback before you move on to the next step. That's very inconvenient. So I'm starting to think I may have to rewrite the prototype, because I want to avoid actually like patching the library, because it's very hard to maintain as you update versions. But what's a bit less difficult to maintain is, say, we take a patch, we change the prototype of Fiddle Factory and adjust the way that from folder is implemented, because that looks like a simple enough thing to replicate. It only uses fs promises. It does a new fiddle, but we can get access to fiddle. And the one thing is this hash string function, which, let's see, uses only internal like Node SDK functions. So it looks like a pretty good target for editing. I suppose what we're aiming for is a hook, kind of like insert a hook here, where we could, 1, install the node modules, 2, boot up the React Native CLI. Now, architecture-wise, this is a horrible place to put those concerns, but I'm kind of in a hard place because this runner.spawn function does far too much. It's got too many responsibilities rolled into one, and you can't move these two things down after it, because if you do, the React Native macOS app starts up sub-second, which is great, but the first thing it tries to do is reach out to the Metro server, and it finds it doesn't exist. It presents a horrible red error box saying please connect to the, couldn't find a bundler server, but also it isn't able to even start the bundler server because it hasn't, the npm module for RNX CLI hasn't even been installed yet. So there's no, that's a whole can of worms if we tried to move it down there. So what can we do really? I think the RN CLI needs to be up and running before we get to this spawn statement. But before we restart the RN CLI, we actually need to also install the node modules. So although it's tempting to insert the hook here, maybe a better way would be to just re-implement spawn if we can get access to all of the things that it's doing, and then we can break it up into its responsibilities. First it creates a fiddle factory, then it does this, sets up the Electron binary on Fiddle. Electron binary meaning React Native macOS binary. We'll just see how this goes. So I want to effectively save that. Let's close others here. Let's take a copy of that. Get rid of that and that. And install can go here. What we're going to do is implement our own runner.spawn equivalent, which we have to maintain in perpetuity, but will be a bit more convenient. Okay, so let's close a few things up. Right. We'll call this spawn runner. And look inside here. I think I need to divide this window in two. We're going to take the same arguments as runner.spawn for now. Or we could just preemptively divide that up into its three responsibilities. Let's maybe do that instead. So function create a fiddle factory which takes a fiddle in, which is of type any for some reason. Spawn fiddle in is going to be a fiddle source. We're going to have to figure out where to get that. Can it find it? Great. Okay, cool. And then we have that single option. I'm sure it supports more options, but that's enough for us to pack as ASR. Where is that package ASAR hiding? This is spawn. Run from ASAR. Okay. I just want to figure out if this is strictly a Boolean. Okay, well, let's treat it as a Boolean. That'll do me. Okie dokie. And it defaults to optional. Okay. Yep. So we're going to need that. We're going to need we've got no this context, so we should actually pass in the runner. Runner is going to be a runner. Where's that importing from? We got that? Okay, I was able to find that. We've got it imported already, clearly. And as it seems, if there's not really a logical order to params, I like to just convert to destructured objects like that. Okie dokie. Okay. So we've got a create fiddle factory that needs to do something like runner dot. No, sorry. Fiddle factory. So is this a private member? I think it actually is. So we'll just check the TypeScript types for runner. Private read only. Okay. It's untyped. But we can probably infer that it's going to be a fiddle factory. So I'm just making unprivate. Now normally the way, let's see how this is created. Fiddle factory dot. So why isn't that working? Yeah, okay, I figured. So omit from runner fiddle factory. Okay, so that makes it unprivate. Then we'll do a create fiddle in, and then we'll pass in those options, and that'll do it. I have to change that to fiddle factory create options if those are exposed. Nice, they are. Okay, cool. Then we can return the fiddle. Okay. So that now wraps that aspect of Spawn. Part one of runner dot prototype dot spawn. Okay. We're gonna need a part 2. I suppose that can be called directly on the runner. Yes. I don't know yet whether... I mean, should we just do this inline? Maybe we should just do this inline and see how it goes. So we'll do a runner as type. So why doesn't it like this? Fiddle in was going to be the second argument, which is, so we have a version in here. We're going to have fid in here, which is just dir. The original arguments for runner.spawn. Const opt equals. It might be. What was going on there? Create options. Spawn. Okay, run spawn options. Okay, I think it's Obviously we can let those be inferred, but I kind of like having those clickable when we're trying to mirror the interface right there. Okay. So I assume this isn't exported. Fine, we can just do this crudely. Okay. That version while we're at it. Okay. Right. Who actually ends up using this? Okay, if it's used a few times, let's do. I have to make sure that this doesn't clash. Okay. Okay. Something like that. Okay, keep going. So, got the fiddle, got some versions here. Grab the fiddle out of that. Ops. Okay, so this will be util inspect. I'll just come back to this in a moment. Grab that, go to the top. Alright, we got inspect expect right here. Jump back down. Okay, sweet. What are we doing next? So just copying out all of the internals of runner.spawn so that we can put some of our own logic in between some of the steps, because the way the steps are written out right now are vastly inconvenient to the way we've got to our setup, because our setup, unlike Electron Fiddle, which we forked, we actually have a bundler involved and we support hot module reload. So as they never had to do that, I've got kind of more balls to juggle, and that's kind of brought some architectural issues into light. Okay, next up we need to get this electron exec, where this refers to runner, and get exec is private as expected. So I'm going to go back here, runner with, I'll just rename that symbol. Run with privates. I wonder if there's a way to remap all private members to non-private. I'm not sure if you can go in both directions. Could we do something like that? Type with privates equals, I always struggle to write these, T key of P mapped types remove yes, that's kind of exactly what I want. I know you can remove read only. Yeah, as expected, that doesn't exist. Okay. There's no plus public. Yeah. Dang it. Alright, fine. We're going to have to do this the hard way. That's fine. Just pick each thing we want and redefine it, which feels quite annoying. Takes... come on. Really though? I assume that's going to be fs.path-like. I would assume that is a string, but that's going to return a promise for for what? Hold up. This sucks. Okay. String, I'm guessing. At least in one case, a string. Okay. Okay, yeah, so that presumably returns the string. Okay. Get exec was used here, so we're fine. We'll do I think it's about time I moved all of these into a function. Async function. Okay. Oh yeah, I could just copy those. Right. So we're getting closer. Now call that version. Electron exec goes there. Where did it get runner from? Okay. Okay, so just making sure all of these are actually coming from internally. So runner comes from params, version in comes from there, okay. Runner, get exec, so far so good. Cool. Okay. We'll do an electron exec. At this point, we could actually just do that, I think. Spawn info is like this. Get exec. It's actually on the prototype, so we can do express it like that. Spawn info version exec fiddle string returns what exactly? String, I think. Oh no, yeah. It joins up at the end. Fiddle. Not quite sure why that would be a promise for fiddle. This is async, and we've awaited. Ha ha ha. That matters a lot. Okay, so at this point the fiddle is going to be just a fiddle. Good old fiddle. Okay. It's more like it. Tricky thing about this is type of runner with privates. Exposing a private static member. Headless. Okay, and what does it return? It returns exec args. Okay, getting that. Okay, alright, so that is a one-to-one implementation of Spawn Runner. Now we just need to put our hooks in. I think it's after the create step. Yes. So before spawn. Maybe we can get by with just after create. Okay. Hopefully that'll do the trick. Boy oh boy, that wasn't easy. Okay, let's see how this goes. At this point I've changed so much. Do I bother with actually killing the server? I think not. I think I'm feeling lucky. So we stop that. We start the main process. I've not touched any code in here, so it doesn't need. So the only time I need to restart the packager is if I've changed anything inside node modules, because Webpack isn't watching that. But let's see. Can we get? We're looking for two things. One. We want the app to start up in not 11 seconds but sub-seconds, and we want it not to show a red screen. I want it to show want it to launch at all happily. So let's see how it goes. Hope it doesn't deadlock waiting for the other one. And then the install slowly comes through. Thought we're going to get a bunch of logs saying it installed something. So the reason that failed was the install didn't happen. Although we should check. We should confirm that. May just be that the logs for the install didn't come through, which is also. Oh no, yeah. No install occurred. Dear, dear. Oh, did we just never call this thing? We never called it. Hold up. This is solvable. This might work a little better. Run. Whew. Okay. I've been working for like so long to get to this final point. That is nice to see. Okay. That's very, very nice to see. So the user experience is not great, but at least we're getting somewhere. So I'm gonna clear that console again. I'm gonna run over again, and I've forgotten whether it reuses the same old directory. Okay, so it clearly creates a whole new temp directory. Redoes the install. Yeah, I love that. Migrated lock file. So one thing I was experimenting with yesterday was adding support for bun. And I was wondering, okay, so should I use, but what I want to use as the lock file for the template. And I decided, well, what if we use package lock.json for the, as the default lock file, put that in the template itself, version control that. But if users end up using bun for bun install, which they should, because it's the bun install takes a second rather than 24 seconds, as npm install takes. It's able to take the package lock and create an equivalent bun lock from that, so you get best of both worlds. So that's just great. It's gone and created a new temp directory. Let's see if hot reload fast refresh is still working. So put that on the left. Ahoy! So just before we're looking for it here, so save now. Okay, this is the other thing. This bit might not work, so save here, overwrite it. Good God! That actually, wow, that worked first try. This is the meme of junior versus senior when seeing something's working, something must be wrong. I am impressed. Okay, I guess it's because we never have to respawn the runner. The runner persists even when you resave the template. Okay, sweet, right. Right, so all that work we're doing just there really covers us. That's super good. So if I now delete all these notes, this is a perform the node modules installation. After runner.fiddlefactory.create, so it avoids taking How big is this thing? Come on. For an 18 meg. Otherwise, the copy ends up including node modules. Okay. Just writing up what we're doing here. So we also launched the RNC dev server during this hook, as launching it after run as spawn call would lead to the host app waking to find the RNC dev server hasn't started up yet. Presenting a red alert box. Okie dokie. Now we can start cleaning things up. Fiddle core install, we can delete all that. Right, that's all from before, and we can get rid of these logs. Oh, finally it starts to heal. At which point I can search for console logs. Anything that wasn't here before. Okay. So I think we've done all the cleanup we need to do in this file. Question, should spawn runner come before install node modules? I think it should now, because spawn runner is actually getting called first. Okay. And we can undo all of these. No, it doesn't remember. Grab all of those. Despawn, spawn. So far so good. Okay. Okay, just hoping to start up React Native Fiddle again. And have a look at, well, really just try it out again. Now that I've cleaned up all the log statements. See if this is still working. Yeah, that's my lovely little read-only semi-feature that I made last night. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish. Okay, call that like under 10 seconds to boot up your app, and then you make the first edit, save, and I've never really understood this, but this is the way that Electron Fiddle sets up. That was real quick. That was less than 10 seconds on first edit. Right, and now edit 2. Save. It's working. It's really, really working. That is astonishing. Cool. Alright, I think before jet lag sends me to bed, I'm gonna end up the stream there. Yeah, take a break. But thanks for watching. Been a pretty quiet day this time, but I'm sure there'll be people viewing non-live or not. Either way, have a nice day and see you next time.